Hi, thank you, Andy and Ashley. I'm Jessica Garcia. One great example that I want to give you guys about local government is there's actually some towns, I'm not going to name any names, but there's a town here in Texas where the people in that city have to pay $100 for their water, whether they use that much water or not. I know it sounds ridiculous. It's possible. It's actually going on right now. And why? Why is that going on? Because people in that city were not involved in politics. They didn't care about the voting. They weren't getting informed. So in order to prevent things like that from happening, I do think people need to be more aware and informed and take action. I know in the US overall, Hispanics are the largest minority. And I'm sure you've heard over and over that most Hispanics don't go out there and vote. There are plenty of reasons why. There are rumors or people who are just, stereotyping Hispanics. So I do have some guests here, some panelists who are going to be discussing their personal experiences as to whether or not Hispanics really do go out there and vote. So we have Pedro Garcia and Edgar. So guys, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, based on your personal experiences, is it true that the majority of Hispanics do not go out and vote?
From personal experience for me, I know for a fact that we don't go out there and vote, especially like first and second generation Hispanics that are here in the U.S. I know, my grandma and my mom really don't vote, and growing up, I grew up in an atmosphere that they didn't vote, so they never encouraged it. But through school, they, little small elections that they had when we were young kind of got us involved in that. And then as soon as we turned 18, they encouraged us to start voting, or to register to vote, and that just kind of picks it up where our family didn't. But I know it was just growing up for a fact that my family never really voted.
How about you, Edgar?
Yeah, my family never voted too, and I felt a lot of it had to do with the apathy they had, because in their homeland in Mexico, the politics are very corrupt, and I felt like they transferred that to the politics here, and they weren't informed, and they didn't care, and it's a real shame.
Okay, so you would say that, obviously where they grew up, your family, down the generations past, their influences of wherever they're from, like you said, Mexico, I'm sure other countries, they have different forms of government, whether it's corrupted or not. We can't speak for them. Would you say then that we lack awareness, or do we lack a sense of motivation? Both? I
think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, well, I would say that, I don't think that Hispanics in general, to me, I feel that they're not targeted as much as other ethnicities. I know that, just on MTV, they always have, they have, Sean Combs or P. Diddy or whatever he likes to go by. He had, this big thing, a couple of years back that, he was, trying to target, the African-American community. And I've never seen that, I haven't seen that, being targeted towards the Hispanics so much.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes you'll see a few campaigns, but they're not far-reaching enough, they're not effective enough, and we need someone to really take that into account and really focus on the Hispanic community and the demographics, really get out there.
Okay, now what would you say about, or to those people that really believe there are just too many Hispanics here in the U.S. that are illegal, they're not documented? So, do you think it's true? And if so, do you think that's a big factor into why Hispanics don't vote?
I think to an extent it's true. There are a large amount of illegal immigrants here, but they have kids that are born here, I guess, and in time they will be able to vote once they turn 18. And I think that neglecting that, as they're growing up is kind of, naive in a sense.
Yeah, people should stop seeing the present and look into the future, because those are the generations that will vote and will make the decisions later on.
Okay, so would you say that maybe they should start implementing more awareness when they're in high school before they turn 18?
Well, like I was saying, I remember when I was in elementary, actually, back in, I want to say 94 when Bill Clinton was running for office, I was probably in third grade, and the seniors, they dressed up as the presidents, they put the masks on and whatnot, and they had a little, they'd go up and speak and what they stood for and whatnot, and then they asked us to vote. And, that just kind of got us into it. And then, through high school, I remember my teachers were always vote, vote, vote for the city elections and whatnot.
Yeah, I feel school is a really good place to start that, especially towards the high school years when students really get the gist of politics and really start to understand how it affects their lives.
Okay, now let's say for those people out there, obviously are not those that aren't in school anymore, right? And now they're starting to consider about voting and politics. How would you say they should go about it? if they see signs posted, would you recommend that they try and contact those candidates that are running for office and ask them? Or would you recommend, like Ashley was mentioning earlier, just reading books or just reading articles? Like if someone wants to get self-involved.
Anything you can do to know about the candidates, know their positions is good. You can go on their websites. You can even call them up if you have the guts to. You know, just do anything so you know what you're voting for. Your job as a citizen is to ask questions. Don't be led. You know, you're not a sheep. You have a voice. So always ask questions.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that the internet now is a good source to figure out what's going on. And if you actually want to know more in depth about everything that they stand for, then you can call them or write them and, you know, see what their policies are. And I think that, you know, a lot of it does fall back upon ourselves, that we shouldn't have to try to get somebody to come to us when we, you know, when it's affecting us what they do. So we should go out and figure something out before that.
Okay. The great thing about, like he said, using the internet reading, there's a public library somewhere near you guys. You can get a membership. Most cards are free, and you can access internet there. So we definitely do recommend that if it's not too late, you're still not, you know, you're out of school, then get involved, ask questions, talk to people, find out, and know there's no such thing, guys, as a dumb question. There really isn't. So is there any other last few words, recommendations, advice?
Vote.
Vote. Always vote. Don't be led. Vote.
Yeah. Every vote matters.
Yeah, voting, guys, the great importance of it is the future is in your hands. So thank you very much for listening to our panelists. Thank you guys for discussing with me.
Our pleasure.
Stay tuned, because after this short break, we're going to have our special guest, Monica Garcia.